The stock is up by 0.8% this morning in reaction, but give us some more detail on the things that have weighed on the business, the impact of the tax reform and the cost of returning UK gas transmission allowances. Give us some context there.
Yeah, so as you saw, we've reported on our half-year results. So actually strong operational and strategic progress and a solid set of financial results. So underlying operating profit was, as we expected, slightly down by 6%, but that was really the tax reforms in the US, which was accounted for just over 50 million of that. And also we have returned some of the allowances to our UK consumers. And we also had some storms in April and May in the US as well, which impacted the underlying numbers. If you look at the underlying performance of the business, though, you'll see that actually a strong 6 months in terms of investment. So our investment was £2.1 billion, so up 7% again, and it was an increase on 7% on last year as well. And you'll also have seen strategically we've taken the decision to exit our gas distribution business. We had a 39% stake, and we've taken the decision to exit that today. And that will be completed in June next year, and will return about £2 billion to the company, which we'll use to reinvest in the business. And then finally, I was just going to mention the fact that we also announced today that we'll be investing in a new interconnector between the UK and mainland Europe, an £850 million investment, creating a new interconnector with Denmark.
OK, and that's interesting because I want to talk about the relationship between the UK and Europe a little bit in this conversation, John, as you might expect. How is Brexit complicating your life at the moment?
So at the moment, as you can imagine, the role that we play in the UK, we've been working with the UK government and with our regulators to really understand all the various scenarios. And we feel very comfortable that we've got good plans in place for whatever scenario, plays out over the next few months. For us, we've been focusing in our role as system operator, making sure that we've got the right generation background in the UK, because we are reliant on some of the interconnectors, but also our interconnectors business, we've been focusing on that as well. But we're comfortable that for any scenario that we've got good plans in place.
So you're confident that in any scenario, even if we have some kind of cold snap on March 29th, if there were to be a hard Brexit, that it would be business as usual for National Grid, that the lights and the heating won't go off?
Yeah, so we published a thing called the Winter Outlook Report, and in that we looked both the gas market and the electricity market in the UK. On the electricity side, we've got an increase in the amount of surplus generation over demand this year at over 11%. And on the gas side, the capacity in the UK is about 575 million cubic metres, and actually we're expecting demand to be something less than 400. So as we go into the winter, it looks like we've got plenty of capacity on the gas side and plenty of capacity on the electricity side.
Can I ask you about the UK opposition party, the Labour Party? You said this morning they've underlined, well, I think you've been talking about this morning and whether you're speaking to them. Give us the latest interactions that you've had with them and what their intentions would be if they were in power with regards to your company.
Yeah, so the Labour Party has, has set out that it has an intention to look to renationalise some of the utilities. From our perspective, we have engaged with the Labour Party, as you'd expect, to really try and reframe the question as to what's the problem they're trying to solve. From our perspective, we're demonstrating to them that we're actually delivering value for money for customers. If you look at National Grid's performance, our reliability is world-class, our safety performance is world-class, and we're more than double the levels of investment in our network compared to when they were nationalised, and we're doing all of that for less than 3% of the customer bill. So we're emphasising the importance of that to the Labour Party, and also the role that we play in the transition that's going on in the energy sector. So, as you know, National Grid's got a key role to play in facilitating that transition, and we're working really hard on that, and we've got the capabilities and the skills to support that. So that's the type of discussion we're having with the Labour Party.
Do you think you're convincing them, John? Do you think they're changing their expectations with regards to renationalisation?
Well, look, our role is to make sure that we engage with them and that they understand the value that we're creating for customers. Over the next few years, there is tens of billions of pounds of investment needed in energy infrastructure in the UK, and we think as a private company we're well placed to do that and create value for customers.
I want to ask you about your business in the US, just finally, John. You said this morning that you're investing very strongly in the US to support the energy revolution to low carbon. That's not something that the President of the United States perhaps talks all that much about. Do you still see an imperative to do that, or is it being driven very much at a state level? And what's the impact of the midterms? Update us there.
Yeah, so certainly from our perspective, we're seeing very strong growth in our US businesses. So our focus is in the Northeast, in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York. And we're investing heavily for resilience and reliability as well as safety. But we are, in our states, seeing a real ambition to move to low carbon energy, and as a result of that, we are supporting it. So it's really at the state level that we're seeing a lot of support for that type of investment. And of course, our regulators are at the state level as well. So we haven't seen really any significant impact as a result of the midterm elections.